Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. And it looks like X Factor is the first one in the house. Welcome to the show, X Factor. I see Boomer Sooner. I see Tyrone the One. I see Derek Young. Maybe I'll put my glasses on and I can see a little more. Welcome to the show, guys. Man, I got to tell you, I love Monday nights, man. You know, as hard as it is, knowing we don't have football and not having a game to talk about, having you guys at least helps me get through the week. To know that Monday nights and Friday nights, we're all here. Jackie, how are you doing, Jackie? Jackie, I'm hoping I'm going to see you again in Dallas in less than 3 weeks, but really 2.5 weeks we're going to be there. Backwoods Boxing, we got Philip Terry, we got Dallas Cowboy Talk, we got Cowboys Fan 84, we got Control 1234. Welcome to the show, everybody. Man, it has been an amazing, I'm actually worn out from the weekend. What a weekend it was to go to the autograph signing show, to see some of the guys that I remember playing. You know, I'm old. I'm really old. You know, it's like seeing Cornell Green, you know, one of our, I mean, seriously, he was born in 1940. Yes, he's older than I am. Yes, he got drafted in 62, but part of our first Super Bowl winning team. Played in actually our first Super Bowl, which we lost, yes, to the Colts. But to see him, to see Rayfield Wright, and I got to tell you, there's a lot of football players that I've seen after football, and some of the guys, I'll be honest with you, have been in terrible shape. And, you know, you're thinking about, wow, this guy just got out like 5 or 6 years ago, and their body and their mind is just gone. But I got to tell you, Rayfield Wright, man, I think he gets around better than I do. And he's got about 20 years on me, man. It was incredible meeting him. Jay Novacek, you know. Everybody took Jay Novacek as, you know, oh, man, he was mad at Joe Boo and the whole idea he was taken back. No, actually, he was actually joking about that whole thing. You know, we had a laugh after the video and stuff. He was fantastic. Sean Lee. Sean, you know, there's a lot of you guys out there that are like, oh, man, Sean Lee, man, we need to get rid of him. I tell you what. When Sean Lee is on the field, there are very few linebackers that are better than him. Unfortunately, he has had the injuries and things like that. But, you know, you won't find a guy. He was the Cowboys Man of the Year last year. You know, not this past year, the year before. Does a lot of stuff, very soft-spoken, very quiet. But when he talks, you should listen because he doesn't have a whole lot to say. But when he does, he definitely has a lot of good stuff. And I was amazed because, you know, we were coming back, you know, after getting an autograph from Bill Bates and stuff, and we saw him sitting there, and I just wanted to wave at Sean Lee like, hey, you know, we're over here supporting you and everything else. And he did a double take, and it was like, oh, it's Joe Boo. And he gets up, and he comes on over. I'm just like, I can't believe Sean Lee is coming over here for Joe Boo. And it's just like, man, that was just cool. I mean, the fact that Dak Prescott remembered us and everything else, you know. I wish I hadn't turned my camera off when I did because he said we're working on that 6th ring. I love hearing that. Sean Lee said the same thing. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not going to be doom and gloom this year. I honestly feel good about where we are. Somebody shared with me a clip from Colin Cowherd, and, you know, he was kind of putting it kind of out there. Here's what's interesting. This time last year, we were the darling of the NFL. Everybody said, man, the Cowboys, they're built for the long haul, man. They're great. They're wonderful, man. You know, they're a Super Bowl favorite. Us and the New York Giants. Yeah. It worked out better for us than it did for the New York stinking Giants. The Giants, who are the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. Were you thinking that the Rams and Buffalo were going to make the playoffs this time last year? Did you honestly think that? With McVay, a rookie coach, with Jared Goff as a quarterback, he's a bust. They'll probably release him. Did you think the Eagles were going to be in the Super Bowl? No, come on, let's be honest. Nobody ever thinks the Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl. Nobody saw that coming. They talked about us. They talked about us. And what happened? The natural progression of the NFL happens. You're the top dog. You're the guy everybody wants to beat to make their season. Your team gets picked apart in free agency. People want your coaches, although we didn't lose any coaches, and maybe that was a bad thing. And your players played longer than the guys that were in the basement. I always say this, that the Super Bowl teams, they have a shorter off season. You know, generally speaking, if your team is constantly in the playoffs, it's like playing an extra year on your body. Think about this. We're hearing reports about Tyron Smith. Tyron Smith got to shut down a week early. He didn't play in week 17. He was already beginning his rehab. When the Super Bowl was over, he was already 5 or 6 weeks into rehabbing his body, getting ready for this season. That's a hell of a plus. Eagles players, they're battered and bruised in the Super Bowl and stuff. They hit it first week in February. Now, granted, they got a Super Bowl ring, but there's less time. If you got to get off-season surgery, you know, if you've got to just kind of take some time off to let your body heal, you have a short window because now everybody's beginning off-season workouts. And you've got Tyron Smith, who's been resting for the last, 3.5 months? That's going to bode well for him next year, as well as for the rest of the team. We don't have a whole lot of major surgeries and things that are going on. So you've got these guys who are resting, getting healthy longer than the Eagles. We're not having a major turnover in the roster. We've turned over some coaches, which may be good because maybe we'll get some coaching up as opposed to coaching down from the coordinators. Trey Diggity Dog, thank you very much for the super chat. Actually, I'm not even prepared for it. Tonight, we're actually going to do a drawing. If I got all these shirts and stuff, we're trying to raise more money and everything for the trip coming up in 2 weeks and 2 days. No, excuse me, 2 weeks and 1 day. We're actually hitting the road. If we can get to $100 in super chats, we'll go ahead and auction off Bill Bates' shirt, autographed yesterday, and it's even got my man Emmett Smith's company, Proviva, authentication. Now this is cool now. Bill Bates, I'm hoping to actually see him again next weekend. It's signed Bill Bates, number 40, 3-time Super Bowl champion. Yeah. That's my man, Bill Bates. It was great meeting him. So, like I said, we're trying to raise funds for the trip. We're trying to do a lot of really cool stuff. We found out today we're going to be in Lot A, which is actually the Texas Rangers parking lot, okay? It's actually not that. It sounds far away. It sounds like, oh, man, you're in the Rangers parking lot. But no, they're actually building a new Texas Rangers stadium, and it's right beside where they're building it. The cool thing is, I think that side of the stadium is the side that's going to be the auditorium. So we're going to be parked there. It's lots of green area and everything else in there. We actually have not one, but 2 RVs. My man, Michael, is got his. He's in Afghanistan right now. He is bringing his RV. We're parking 2 of these together, side by side. We have a 14-foot, shout out to Clarence, missing in action, 14-foot projection screen TV. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the 2 RVs parked like this. We're going to have the projection screen TV in the back. We're going to have our table set up where we're going to be there broadcasting and everything else. We're going to have a microphone so that way you guys can ask us questions and be part of the show. We're going to do hot wings challenges. And behind us, the crowd, you guys will be right behind us while we're taping and all that. That way you've got a view of that 14-foot screen. And then behind us, of course, will be the stadium. We're hoping it's going to be huge. So, guys, I can't wait until this thing gets kicked off. I'm excited as can be. I've got so much work to do between getting the satellite uplink and everything else, between getting all the equipment and everything, the food and people coordinated. But we're trying to make this thing huge. And, I can't thank all of you fans enough for making the Joe Boo Sports Report what it is. And here we've got my man, E2 Blue. Oh, good. You got it right. Yes, I got it right. Unfortunately, he's got his camera the wrong way as opposed to landscape. He's got portrait, man. Come on, man. How you doing tonight, E2?
I'm all right, man. How you doing?
Man. Well, I just got home about an hour ago from being over at your house, man. I'm doing great, man. We're here talking about what else? The Dallas Cowboys.
Can you see me now?
Yeah, I can see you. Yeah, we can see you great, man.
Okay.
Can you
Okay,
hear?
cool.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes. You
Man,
good? You good?
okay. Here's the thing. I got to tell you, it seems like every time I start having a conversation with E2 or John or Law Nation, it's like, damn, I wish we had a camera in front of us because this is good shit. I started talking before we were leaving because I was helping my man out over in his house and stuff about the wide receiver position. And the topic
Man.
tonight is NFL Moneyball. You literally got to figure out where you're going to spend your money because you only got 170 some million dollars. And I know that sounds like a whole lot of money, but the problem is it really isn't when you start paying guys a lot of money.
Right.
And we've got the whole Dez situation,
9%. 9% of the salary.
and I've been talking about that 9% for a long time, and people keep saying you've got to have, a great wide receiver. But do you think that you really have to have a great number one wide receiver?
No, because we already know games are won in the trenches, correct?
I believe they are. But, I'm a guy with a day
I
job and a
believe
voodoo doll.
I believe that you have to have a solid defense and you need to have capable wide receivers. You don't necessarily need a superstar, but you need somebody that can run solid routes and somebody that's balanced.
And here we go right now as my point. Because I started to, I've said kind of these things, I've hinted before. My job here is to try and make you guys get something different than what you get everywhere else. I mean, You can go to ESPN and NFL Network and get the same old spiel, especially ESPN. You can go on any show and it'll all be the same thing. The Cowboys suck. Tony Romo is a choker, and Zeke Elliott's a bad guy.
I got so tired of hearing that every day.
Yeah. So my job is to try and make you guys think of something different and look at it from a different perspective. And here's what I came up with today. As we go through right now the top 10 paid wide receivers. Okay? This is what's interesting. Antonio Brown, $68 million, $17 a year. Number 2, Mike Evans, $82 million.
And he just got his money.
Right, at $16.5 million. DeAndre Hopkins, $81 million, $16.2 a year. Sammy Watkins, $48 million, $16 a year. Jarvis Landry, $15.9 a year, and it's a 1-year deal. AJ Green, $60 million, $15 a year. Devontae Adams, $58 million, $14.5 a year. Julio Jones, $71 million, $14.25 a year. Demario Thomas, $70 million, $14 a year. And then we have Dez Bryant, number 10, at $14 a year. So as we go through those numbers, how many of those guys have rings?
1.
Right.
Demaryius Thomas.
Right.
And that's because not only did they have a elite quarterback, but they also had a defense.
Right. So as we go through, and as the New York Giants get ready to try and pay Odell Beckham, is spending that money wise for your team? Is that wide receiver position really that important?
No.
That's my question.
But again, as we say, every team is different, and every team has their different strengths and their different schemes. With a team like us, let's just talk about us for a minute. We are a run-heavy team. That is our new identity, especially with Ezekiel Elliott on the team. By us being a run-heavy team, we don't necessarily need a superstar wide receiver. But although I am a fan of the pick your poison offense. I mean, I do believe that if you have a bunch of players that are different but have their key things that they do to bring to the table, that helps a lot too. Because again, you don't have a lot of players that are the same.
Right.
When you start having things that are the same, teams look at you like, okay, well, I already know what he's going to do. I know who he's going to do. And whenever they bring him in this package, this is what he's going to do. So if you have a team that basically can be creative, like, and I don't want to give them props, but how the Eagles won the Super Bowl, they were creative with their play calling.
Right.
Every one of their running backs scored a touchdown.
Okay.
Their tight ends score touchdowns. And like I said, with this league, with tight ends being more like receivers, it takes a lot of the focus off of the wide receivers to basically have a more balanced team.
Right. Trey Diggity Dog, Michael Freeman, Shogun, and Zeke Project, as well as Dem Boys 27. Y'all are all added to the drawing and stuff. Appreciate all of this. Yeah, and that's the thing, because we keep seeing how many players the Cowboys wide receivers brought in for looks at. We're hearing that the Cowboys were actually interested in Jeremy Maclin. Before they signed Thompson.
Alan Hearns.
Yeah, Alan Hearns and Thompson. Yeah. So they've definitely been saying we've got to get wide receivers. Now, don't get me wrong. You want a guy who can stretch the field. But when you start looking at that $17 million, here's an interesting stat that I found, because everybody talks about, Dez Bryant went downhill, right? We know his production went down. His production's been going down for a couple of years now. But, and of course, everybody says, well, Dak Prescott, his numbers went down too. Well, yeah, they did. Zeke Elliott.
And
nobody's talked about Zeke Elliott much. And I've said this before, and everybody who says that Dak sucks, he can't do crap. You go back through and look at the numbers for the first 4 or 5 games of the season. Zeke was not Zeke. First 3 games, I believe he only averaged like 3.7 yards a game.
You talking about this past season, correct?
This past season, his numbers.
But we already know. Why that was, though.
Well, why was it? Offensive line?
Because
play calling?
Well,
teams catching up to him?
Well, if you're gonna talk about him personally, with this whole suspension stuff and him not knowing what his fate was, his head clearly wasn't focused on the field. You can see that.
Well, he went from averaging 5.7 yards a carry to 4.6. He literally dropped a yard in production. So we can't put it all on Dez Bryant. We can't put it all on Dak.
This team as a whole.
It's kind of like the old. Well, it's like the old saying: the neck bone's connected to the shoulder bone or the knee bone. You know what I'm saying? All of these things have correlation to it, and I believe it all can really go back to the offensive line changing up.
And see, this is the reason why I think that remember when Frank Pollock was our offensive line coach.
Yeah.
I feel like that, he was new in that position. He didn't put those players in positions that he needs to. I believe that Paul Alexander that we got now, a lot of people say because he was with the Bengals for so long that he's not good, but that's not true. He took average players and made them a little bit above average. But with this offensive line and this talent that we have on his team, he's very capable of putting these guys in places where they need to be. So a game like how we had with the Falcons does not happen again.
Right. Well,
everybody was so hard on Chaz Green. But again, we have a tendency to keep pulling these players and putting them in different positions and switching their positions. And we got to stop doing that because we have to find where their strengths are and leave them in that spot.
Yeah. You need
now, as far as the Lyle Collins thing, me personally, I want him to go back to guard because that's where he was pancaking folks. Now, if he wants to stay at right tackle, we'll see. But again, like Coach Garrett said, he said that they're doing this for competition, so we'll see what happens in training camp.
Shout out to Cowboys fan 84, with Dallas Cowboy Talk, The Control, Marcelo B, Justin Corals, Malik Brown, Backwoods Boxing. Boy, we got all kinds of Kristen Collinwood, Trey Craig. Boy, we got tons of people in here now. Now, the 800-pound gorilla that we still are dealing with, and I try and point out that the Dallas Cowboys seem to have problems that nobody else has. And that's what to do about Dez Bryant. I don't hear anybody else having to sit down and talk to any other player on any other team. Have you?
No, and you know why? Because they keep all their issues in-house. They don't publicize it like we do. And the fact that they're going through all this and making it like that, I'm really disappointed in the staff and the way that they're treating this whole Dez Bryant situation. Because I honestly feel like you're disrespecting him. Because I look at it like this: if you wanted him to stay on the team so bad, you would have come to him one-on-one long time ago without all the media publicity, and you would have basically told him something along the lines of, "Hey, Dez, we plan on keeping you on this team, despite the guys that we picked up. We just need you to do this, that, and the third. We'll lower your base. We'll offer you $6.5 million, 4.5 guaranteed, and give him some incentive. That way, it doesn't feel like he's being disrespected. Because at the end of the day, it's not like he's a sorry wide receiver. Yes, his production went down, but they know that he still has the capability to do it. Because I guarantee you, if he went to another team with a quarterback that's been on the team for more than 5-6 years, that's established, he would do better. But what I'm saying is, if they come at him like that, then I would respect it more. But the way that they're doing it is really wrong. Because if you're going to get rid of him, you should have did it before. Now you didn't let free agency dry up, and now that if you cut him, now he's screwed.
Well, I equate it to being like, and Tim Gasly, thank you very much for the super chat. I equate it to, let's say you're dating a girl, and you see her over flirting with some other guys at the club and everything else, and kind of hanging on to you, that she doesn't want to leave you till we're sure I got the next guy, so that way there's no drop-off. Yeah. When she comes back, you don't feel exactly that happy about her being. It's like, wait a minute, what? You mean I'm just about ready to be kicked to the curb? To me, in my mind, I'm ready to say, F you, I'm done.
I'm telling you.
I mean, it's just bad all the way around. It's just something that should have been dealt with long ago. If you're going to keep them, say, hey, look, we're going to keep you. We're going to try and work out some contract numbers and everything else. This whole thing is, we're going to talk to him this week. No, we haven't talked to him. We're going to talk to him. And it's just wrong. And it's just not a good look any which way around. It's great for us to talk about. It's great for the media to be a spectacle. But I'm tired of just being a spectacle. I want to win.
Man, you tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of arguing with people about it. I'm like I said, the last video I posted, when I said it, I basically said what I'm saying tonight. Just show the man some respect. And if you don't want him, let him know that. Cut ties. Let him earn his money somewhere else. Let him do what he needs to do if you don't want him on the team. Stop with this whole rigmarole of we're gonna talk to him, but we haven't yet, and they still haven't talked to him yet.
Jason Garrett came out. Well, we hope to resolve it sometime soon. Okay. Let's put this stuff together, because the fact that you're saying resolve it, there's not an issue. There's not an issue. He has a contract. You signed a contract with him that has 2 more years on it. So there's not an issue with that. So what you're saying is you want to change the deal. That is what you're saying. You're not saying there's no issue with Tyrone Crawford. There's no issue with Cole Beasley. There's no issue with anybody else other than Dez Bryant. So you're saying
now, if they're gonna get rid of anybody, I would say go ahead and cut ties for Crawford.
And I think with them signing Kona Ely, I think that's going to be a June 1st cut where they'll save about $8 million. J. Cone Joe, 35. You think the Cowboys should draft draft a defensive tackle. I believe that we should definitely. I've been screaming for a defensive tackle for years and years and years. I wanted Calais Campbell last year. Funny. Damn it.
So this is what's funny. Did you hear what Marinelli said about the whole defensive line thing?
What did he say? No, oh Lord.
So
he's getting old now.
Because Marinelli he doesn't like that one trick pony in the middle. He wants a defensive tackle that can do it all. That's the reason why he kept saying that he did not want the big body. But at the end of the day, he keeps saying that he wants more pass rush. Well, sir, if you want more pass rush, you got to get that big body. You got to get that fire hydrant in the middle to absorb those blocks, so your edge rushers can get around and get the quarterback. Right. So with that being said, he also said on the back end of that, it was almost like he was contradicting himself, because then he said, I would take Vita Vea because he's a one tech. He plays,
and
also play like a 3. So
right.
I mean,
Well, also too, understand that this is deception time of year too. You don't want people to really know who you're targeting, and
Exactly.
I believe the whole bringing in so many wide receivers and sending the whole crew to look at Calvin Ridley is just a smokescreen from what they're really going to do. When have we ever drafted a guy that we said that's the guy we want to draft? It never happens. Never happens.
Nah, never.
Okay, so who knows what it'll be. So don't be surprised one way or the other. Nobody saw us taking Travis Frederick. I know I didn't.
No,
Most people laughed at
I
that
didn't
pick,
either.
but you know what? He's been one of the best centers in football and a
Right.
lot of Pro Bowls. And speaking of Pro Bowls, our Cowboys have had more Pro Bowlers over the last, since 2010 than pretty much anybody else.
Yeah.
But it hasn't led to us winning much on the field as far as playoff wins.
No.
And if you look at New England, I started going through the numbers, and I didn't have enough time to finish before we got on.
They have what, 3 people on the team that's been there longer than 5 years?
Yeah, basically, yeah. And every year they average about 3 or 4 Pro Bowlers. And so how does that make sense when we have sometimes 8, 9 Pro Bowlers? Francis Washington, thank you for the super chat. And they have 3, 4. How does that make sense?
Well, it makes sense because they're not there. Once these players get over a certain age, they get about 27, 28. They cut ties with them and they draft. And look what they're doing this year.
Yeah.
They know that they're going to be a winning team every year.
Yeah.
They know that they're going to get great draft. So what do? Trade receivers like they did with Brandon Cook. They get these things because I think that they're going to get a quarterback. I'll be honest with you. They're going to get somebody for the future for Tom Brady because Tom Brady's probably got 1 more year left.
From that situation there, I think actually Bill Belichick is basically putting his finger in Robert Kraft's face because I think it got ugly with the whole Tom Brady and all that. He did not want to get rid of Garoppolo. And I think he's basically saying, okay, I'm going to get rid of this guy. I'm going to get rid of this guy. I'm going to start rebuilding. I'm going to go ahead and tank this year and make it bad. Chaz Jewell, thank you very much. Chaz thinks that draft Hayden Hurst. What do you think about that?
Oh, which because there's 2 Hursts in this draft. Which one had the heart condition?
I'm not sure. Man, you know I'm not the college
Was
expert,
it Hayden
man.
or was it? I'm trying to say, was it Hayden or was it Maurice? One of the Hursts we don't want to draft because he has a heart condition, and a lot of teams took him off the board because they got spooked by that heart condition.
Mm-hmm. All
so
right, we'll have to do some more research
if
on that.
it's the same Hurst that I'm talking about, then he's going to drop.
Okay.
Tremendous. I'm talking about like 3rd, 4th round.
Well, the Cowboys will definitely always go for the somebody that's been injured or has some different issues and things like that.
But they've been looking at Deron Payne too.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings us to then the next question. What do you think the Cowboys are going to do with this draft? We got plenty of time to talk about it. We got about 1,300 miles of driving to Dallas. But as it stands right now, what do you think? Mm-hmm.
I keep changing my mind every other day.
I think everybody does.
I tell you what I don't want in the 1st round. A damn wide receiver. That's what I don't want.
I told you, I started off a firestorm there because I said, Dallas Cowboys, please, please don't do it. We have a logjam there right now. I'm telling you, if we get the offensive line together again, we get Zeke Elliott running 5 yards a carry again, it's going to open up things for Dak Prescott. And, Dak's ready. Look, I saw him yesterday. Dak looks like he's lost a little bit of weight in there. He looks like he's ready to rock and roll. I'm telling you. I think the Cowboys, I don't want to jinx it, but I think next year is going to be a good year in spite of Jason Garrett.
Also, too, I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios on that, too.
Okay.
So, you already know my guy's Vita Vea.
Oh, Vita.
But I was looking at because I want a defensive guy, period.
Man, you know I'm high on I'm going to have to show this video.
If you feeling really froggy, you can go up and get Derwin James. As Law likes to call him Derwin Trinidad James.
Let's just take a look at Vita again. Oh, God. Oh, Vita Vea. Damn.
And another option is also, too, they can also go with a guard because if
All right, I'm sorry.
Like I said, if Lyle Collins
had to
wants
put
to stay
that
at right
highlight
tackle,
up. Okay, they didn't hear us talking, man, but I had to put that highlight of Vita Vea up there. My man is a beast, man.
okay.
No, we're back on. Vita Vea. Oh, I would love to have Vita, man. I know people, it's not the sexy pick. It's not the Calvin Ridley, the sports car and all that. No. He is like the pickup truck, man. But it's the pickup truck that builds the house, okay?
We need to get that player or players. First of all, your top 3 picks need to be, you want your top 3 picks to be starters. That's your goal, period.
Right. Yeah.
Every year, every draft, you want your top 3 players to be starters. So again, you're gonna draft for need. You know what I mean? Like a lot of teams will be like, oh well, we're gonna get the best player available. Yeah, you could do that in the later rounds, but in that first round, it's key. You cannot mess that up.
Oh, I agree with you on it. Well,
you need to go for need.
How I always term a draft of success is you got an impact player. You got a guy that made a difference on the field, and you end up getting 2 starters and a special team guy, and you get depth. If you do that, you've had a fantastic draft. We got spoiled in 2016, and it was a difference maker having Zeke Elliott and Dak Prescott to fill in, having Collins come off the bat playing the way he did, having Anthony Brown in there. We did fantastic in 2016. We started believing the hype, and in 2017, we didn't get that kind of an impact out of the rookies until later on in the season. Yeah. So it was all the difference in the world for our team because just didn't get that extra.
We got another thing that kills me with us. We got to figure out a way to use these players when they come on the team. I feel like they could have used Ryan Switzer so much more in this offense last season.
Oh, I
agree. They did, especially with Zeke being out. You had so many opportunities to get him on the field. They just don't do it. They just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. There's many times where I'm sitting on my couch and I'm sitting here already calling out the play that they're going to play, and they do it. If I can sit here and do this, and I'm not a defensive coach, I'm not a defensive coordinator. If I can figure it out, I know they can.
Right, and that's the thing that drives you crazy. And I'm hoping that they do better. But again, I think they believe their own hype. Jason Garrett was coach of the year. The offense was just rolling right on through there. They figured all we got to do is just say, hey, why change anything? It's working.
Yeah.
And that's where they lost. So, what can I say? Hopefully they learn from this and realize we have to get a little bit more innovative.
Well, you just said the key thing. You said that them changing. That's what the Patriots do. They never get comfortable.
Know what to expect. You're right. Yeah. So before I get you out of here, man, are you ready for the draft trip?
Man, like I told you earlier when I saw you. Man, 2 weeks. I cannot wait, man. Like these weeks need to hurry up and come. I'm sitting here at work like, will these days hurry up and finish so we can get to this draft? Like I'm super excited, dude.
I'm hoping I have enough time to get everything together, man. I've got barbecue equipment that I'm trying to get ready for the road. Make sure we have the Wi-Fi and everything hooked up. It's just. Guys, you don't have any idea. I've never tried to put on anything like this. Thank God I've got my man Erwin here, that I've got John, I've got Michael who's over in Afghanistan. He's bringing his RV. I've got Walt from Best from Business, and I've got people that are just helping out so much. There's no way in the world I could do this thing without everybody's help, and I'm hoping it's going to be a fantastic event for everybody that's there. But my man, tell everybody, listen, if you have not subscribed to E2 Blue, I'm mad at you. I'm serious. I am mad at you guys because my man puts in a whole lot of work and stuff. Please tell them where to find you.
Well, first of all, I want to say those of you that are following this right now that already subscribed to me, I appreciate y'all support. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate, everything that y'all, helping me out with this project. Because like I said, I just started a couple of months ago, but I'm shelling out these videos and I'm working hard for y'all. So you can find me at E2 Blue. That's E2 BLU Entertainment. Support your boy.
All right, man. Thank you so much for being there, man. I will talk to you later on. You'll be. We'll have messages going back and forth with the whole crew. Thank you very much, man. All right. Talk to you later.
All right, man.
Deion Sanders. Are you the Deion Sanders that just got pimp slapped by Jordan Lewis? Did you guys hear about that one? Deion Sanders kind of got some shade thrown at him.
Oh, you want to talk about
from Jordan Lewis. But yeah, actually, that brings us to the question there. Deion Sanders. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get some pictures of Lot A towards the stadium. What we're going to try and do is we're going to literally camp out. The lots don't open until 11 o'clock. The draft's not until 8 o'clock. But I think we're literally going to be there camping out at like 5 a.m. in the morning to make sure that we get a primo spot that's in the grass there, because I want to have the stadium as a backdrop. And I'm just trying to get a feel for what it looks like exactly. So if somebody can go through there in Lot A and take pictures from the parking lot towards the stadium so I can get at least a feel for exactly where we can try and set up and everything else, I would appreciate it. But yeah, but Jordan Lewis kind of threw shade yesterday back at Deion Sanders for saying that, you got so much to say, why don't you come over here and help us out? And that, he's kind of the guy that always crosses the line. So we're waiting to hear Deion Sanders come back. Now, one other thing before my man John comes on, Zeke Elliott is in the news. And it's amazing that TMZ don't come around no more. Because when we had Boobygate, TMZ was all over the place. When we had the guy in the nightclub in Ohio who carried a gun in there and the police actually talked to Zeke along with everybody else in the club, TMZ was there. When he was down in Florida sitting on a jet ski and the Coast Guard happened to come by to say, are there enough life preservers here, and let me look at the honeys while I'm here. They covered that. But guess what? They didn't cover this. So, where was TMZ? You mean they didn't cover this? It was Zeke Elliott with the kid. What happened? Well, let's welcome to the show my man, DMV, Dallas Cowboy. How are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing well, man. And yourself, man? It's a lovely Monday. The draft is coming up. I can't wait.
Oh, you and me both, man. I tell you what, it's going to be great. 2 weeks in a day, man. We leave for the draft. I just can't believe it. It seemed like it was so long ago that we were talking about this thing, but it's coming up quick, and I got a lot of work to do between now and then to get ready for this thing. Sorry about that, guys, on the sound. I suck. I'm old and technology challenged. I finally got the sound right between me and John and all that. Wanted to have that clip and everything else. I should have checked it, but I didn't have enough time. I wish I had people that just took care of the stuff, but, I'm a one-man show here. So what do you have for us tonight? We have the draft in 2 weeks. You've looked at 261 players. We've seen teams that have been moving and rumored to be moving up and forth in the draft. We know that they're looking at about 5 quarterbacks going before us. We've brought in more wide receivers than you can shake a stick at. What the hell do you think our Cowboys are going to do?
Yeah, man, I got something really good for you, and I'm actually going to do a video on it tomorrow on my channel when you guys click over. But I actually looked at an article from Blogging the Boys where they did a breakdown of our top 30 pre-draft visits, our Dallas Day participants, and the private workouts. So I'm going to show you the breakdown of positions that we're looking at, right?
Okay.
All right, so we've looked at and visited 5 defensive ends, 4 defensive tackles, 17 to 18 receivers, because one of them is a quarterback / receiver, 4 centers, 4 to 5 guards, 3 to 4 tackles, 6 linebackers, 4 running backs, 8 safeties, 6 to 7 quarterbacks, only 2 tight ends, 1 kicker, and 1 punter. So from that list, man, the thing that makes me a little upset is that the guys that they looked at as far as tight end, one of the guys is projected to be a free agent pickup.
Okay.
And the other guy is the 18th ranked tight end off the board according to CBS Sports.
Man.
So they're not looking at tight end right now, which pisses me off. And that's partially why we are where we are, because there's certain guys that they just won't step on their toes, and that just looking at these numbers, that's beyond ridiculous at this point. Now, a lot of us, we want Hayden Hurst, we want Giuseppes, we want Mark Andrews, those tight ends that are on the board that are athletic. The position that we're missing, and we're not even looking at tight ends. That should tell you guys all you need to know.
See, and I think it's a mistake because, tight ends are really the new wide receiver. Jason Witten is a great possession receiver, but you need somebody who can get downfield and, get some attention. We don't have guys that are getting attention, and that doesn't bode well. Then I hope then, if we're not getting a tight end, that we damn sure are getting a stud offensive lineman then.
Yeah, and I think the thing that not bothers me, because you got the guys like Will Hernandez. You got Will Hernandez on the list, but I haven't seen Isaiah Wynn on the list, who is the second best guard probably in the draft. But I do see a guy named James Daniels from Iowa, who is a center / guard that they done he actually came in for an official visit and they did a private workout. So guys, look out for James Daniels as a guy that we could possibly get in the first round. Maybe they trade back for him, but he's a pretty solid player. I was just hoping for Isaiah Wynn. I was also hoping that Will Hernandez came in for an official visit, and I don't see that on this list right now.
Okay. Well, Michael Freeman says we don't need a tight end because we have Rico Gathers, and he's going to be a beast. He has potential, I think, but, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to bet farm on
can you ask him what happens when we get rid of James Hanna? Because he's probably going to be a cap casualty.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So you need a blocking tight end then too. So I don't know, man.
I'm just going to be completely honest. Rico Gathers, yes, he showed us some stuff in the preseason, but how many guys have we seen show us stuff in preseason and in practice, and they don't bust a damn great during the game?
Well, and he got hurt in practice and missed,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, if they got these tight ends coming out, because it's a deep class, why not bring in a couple of these guys to even look at? You got 17 damn receivers, 17 of them.
Yeah, that's and again, my point is big name wide receivers aren't what win you Super Bowls.
Yeah, I agree. And then another thing that kind of there was some quarterbacks that said there were 4 to 5 quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. A lot of these guys are undrafted guys for the most part.
Right.
So again, Dak Prescott, yes, he is our quarterback for the future. But how are we breeding competition if we're not continuing to bring the best type of guys in? I'm not saying go out there and get the top 5 guys that'll be gone before Dak Prescott. But there's got to be some second to third round, fourth round type of guys. We got 10 damn picks. We have 10 picks. What are we doing?
Oh, I agree. And maybe that's the thing that they're thinking, that we're going to be able to take care of everything with the 10 picks. They're going to be able to do a lot of stuff. I don't know. It does bode well that you do have 10 picks. Now the question is, do you pick well? I don't know. I think that we really need a really good tight end. I think that's a spot that we haven't really talked about much, but we definitely need an upgrade on that. I still think linebacker is key. I still think the defensive line and safety, we've got to do something with the safety situation.
I agree with the safety situation, and I'm looking at the safeties right now. They're looking at a lot of mid-round guys. They're not looking at too many guys that are up high. So a guy like one of my favorite guys, Justin Reed, is not even on this list. Damn. And I'm wondering if that has something to do with him being Eric Reed's brother. I'm not sure if it does, but if that does have something to do with it, that should tell you why we haven't won a playoff game, or we've won 2 playoff games in 20 years. I think that the front office, while they've been really good at drafting first-round guys, I'll give them that credit. They have not been good enough at drafting diamonds in the rough.
Second round has been awful for us.
Second round, for the most part, 5th round, 6th round. Now, I'm not saying, like, 5th and 6th round, you're kind of getting a crapshoot, but I'm just saying we haven't been good enough at finding guys that are diamonds in the rough. Like, where our Stephon Diggs is at. I'm not going to say Tom Brady, because Tom Brady, it was just a gift from God.
Where's Antonio Brown?
Yeah, he was a second-round receiver. So I was listening to your show and talking about, not getting a first-round receiver. We don't have to get a first-round receiver.
You don't.
Antonio Brown was in the second round. If you even look at it, you can find some really good playmakers in the second round. We've been missing on it, though. We've been missing on the second round.
Well, and more times than not, we've tried to find value in guys that have been injured. Sean Lee was actually injured. Morris Claiborne was injured.
But Claiborne we
Jalen
traded
Smith,
up to get Claiborne. Though.
Right. But again, and Jalen Smith, injured, because we figure, okay, we're getting a discounted guy that possibly can be great. But
we hit on Lawrence. Lawrence was a second-round pick. I mean, of recent history, that's probably the one guy that wasn't injured that we probably hit on.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see what they go, but I still believe the line and the defense is where we're going to be, get our biggest bang for the buck.
Yeah, I think a dark horse for us is Taven Bryan. I know that Marinelli's been talking a lot of trash about, like, I need a guy to be able to do this and do that, even though we haven't found that guy on our roster. But I think that Taven Bryan is somebody that they're really high on from Florida. A lot of us fans, we really like Deron Payne from Alabama, but I just get the sense that they're not as high on him as we are, even though they're bringing him in for an official visit. I've heard a lot more about Taven Bryan as far as the staff and all of that stuff, than I have from Deron Payne.
Dion, it's supposed to be, I think it's the Rangers Lot A or Rangers Lot 8. I think it was Rangers Lot.
I think it was Lot A.
Lot A. I think, it should be, it's like across the little creek that's right there is where it sits, I believe. But it should be Lot A, if I'm not mistaken. But then again, I've been hit in the head too many times. But I'll double check for you on that. Just email me at CowboysMark94, and I'll make sure that I get it for you. Actually, Antonio Brown was a 6th-round draft pick. I had to double check.
He was a 6th round?
6th round.
I could have swore he was a 2nd-round pick.
6th round draft pick.
Rico Gathers number 6.
Well, okay.
Wow.
But Rico's not Antonio Brown, though. Michael Anthony Fitness. Okay, not yet. Okay. I hope you're right on that one, that Rico Gathers gets as good as Antonio Brown.
Wow, and you're absolutely right. But you know what? Here's the thing about Antonio Brown and why we would never draft a guy like that. Because we would look at him and say he's 5'10", 180 pounds soaking wet, and we wouldn't touch him.
Yeah.
Not knowing that, like, route running and catching the ball is what's important. Like, the Cowboys look at prototypical, like, numbers, and, like, they just don't – I don't believe that they – how do I say it? Their staff, I don't think they believe as much in tape as they do in the measurements. And to me, I believe that gets you in trouble.
Frank Whitaker, thank you very much for the super chat. We're running out of time here. We actually have the Bill Bates shirt. I can't let it go for it cost me a big chunk of change to get the autographs and stuff on it. If we don't get to 100, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just it won't be autographed. It'll be a regular Joe Boo t-shirt because I'm trying to really raise some funds for this trip. It's costing a big chunk of money to put this thing on. 100 pounds of chicken wings ain't cheap. To put it kind of mildly, because we're trying to make sure that anybody who comes through gets their chicken wing on, gets their YouTube channel and everything on. So I'm really trying to raise some funds, and I can't let it go for what I got at the moment. So, but I will do a Joe Boo t-shirt. I had another question for you. I
Yeah,
was
go ahead.
talking about everybody talks about Dez Bryant, and everybody thinks I hate Dez Bryant. People want to throw rotten eggs and things at me and everything else because I say that Dez Bryant's production went down. But it wasn't just Dez Bryant. We know Dak Prescott's numbers went down as well.
Uh-huh.
The big one that nobody talks about is Zeke Elliott's numbers went really far down.
Well, I mean, I think that it really goes. If you look at it, no Ron Leary, and as much as we hate Doug Free, you're missing two vital key parts of the line. That's really where it came from. Not to mention you didn't change anything up. But I think that Leary really hurt. And
right.
Whether people want to believe it or not, we weren't getting to the second level from that guard position, from the left guard position. And that hurt us. That kind of limited us into as far as the type of plays that we were having success from. I don't know if you guys remember too much, but at one point we had a staple with that sweep to the left side with the guard pulling.
Oh, yeah.
We weren't able to do that as much in that upcoming year. As far as the zone, Leary was pretty good at getting to the second level, and Zeke being able to, just stay on course and then make one cut and go up. Like, we weren't getting to the second level in any of our runs. And Zeke was making a lot of guys miss at the line of scrimmage where he did it, in my opinion, I think he did a fantastic job for how the line played early on last year. I don't think they were nearly as effective.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, his numbers went from 5.07 to 4.06. I mean, he dropped off a yard. That's huge.
Yeah, he was breaking a lot of tackles. I don't think it was as much of him being ineffective as it was
the
front line blocking. Personally,
which
we won't get the same push.
Back to, are you going to get more value from having a wide receiver or an offensive lineman then?
I mean, to be honest, I'm going with a guard there anyway. I keep saying that. I keep beating the drum. I mean, people keep saying we need to go defense. We need to go defense. I'm with what Vosh said a couple of weeks ago. Get the identity back.
Get the identity back, but we need the defense to take another step up.
Yeah, absolutely. We do. And, I mean, you still got 10 picks. But if you can find, all right, because when I'm looking at what we're going to have, I don't see a guy that can, at 19, I don't see, unless somebody drops, I don't see anybody that can come right in and become an all-pro.
Right.
I can see Will Hernandez coming in right now being a perennial all-pro. Right now, Isaiah Wynn, I can see him coming in and being an all-pro because you're next to an all-pro. You're next to two all-pros where you're going to be. So, I mean, why not go for the sure thing? Because, yeah, we can get a defensive lineman, but we've seen that story before. How happy were we when we got Taco last year?
Well, Taco, okay, here's the thing with Taco, though. I think Taco, one, he was raw when we got him. We kind of reached for him because defensive linemen were going off the board. We knew if we did not get him now, there was very little chance that you were going to get somebody in the second round. There were a lot of cornerbacks and stuff. You figured that, okay, we'll have a good chance of getting cornerbacks later on. You're not going to be able to get pass rushers. But he also didn't really get a chance to bust the lineup because all of a sudden DeMarcus Lawrence played a lot better than you expected. Nobody thought DeMarcus Lawrence was going to do anything. He was coming back from back surgery and a disappointing year in 2016. So you were looking at originally him being a starter on day one. All of a sudden, DeMarcus Lawrence is playing lights out, and he didn't play that much. Everybody wants to compare him to T.J. Watt's numbers, but T.J. Watt played twice the snaps.
Yeah. And I mean, TJ Watt was in a different scheme as well.
Right,
like
exactly,
he was, he was on the outside as an outside backer. With our scheme, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, you're right. Taco didn't necessarily get the chance, and he was raw. But what we're looking at right now at 19, we're probably looking at getting another raw defensive player. I mean, unless you go Deron Payne right there. But a couple of guys looking at this list. Arden Key. Who else do they have? As a matter of fact, they really don't have a lot of defensive ends, defensive tackles. Taven Bryan is considered a raw player.
Yeah.
A guy that they really like. He's considered raw.
Yeah.
So we're probably looking at that again. Harold Landry, he's not considered raw, and he's probably considered the best pass rusher in the draft. But I know Bosch says that. I've also heard that a lot on the draft show as well. But Harold Landry is another guy we're looking at getting at 19, possibly. He wouldn't be as raw, but I mean, we be. It's really hard for a defensive end to come in right away.
Oh, as rookies, very few ever do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm more so. You plug a guard in right away, you got more of a chance at success, and we can't miss with that at number 19. Can't miss.
Oh no, we can't. We definitely need a guy who's going to be an impact player. Cleveland Brown in here was saying that he believes in Taco, and we know Taco played better as the season went on. He got his 3 sacks basically over the last 6 or 7 games or so, and I think given some time, given some more work and things, learning a few moves, I think he's going to be okay. And having that first year behind him, DeMarcus Lawrence didn't exactly light the world on fire as a rookie.
He sure enough didn't. He didn't.
With
no,
the exception
absolutely.
Of the Detroit Lion playoff game, he got 2 sacks, but that's all he got really the whole season. Most of the season he was injured. So you can't expect those guys necessarily to come out the bat and do a whole lot. But people are so apt. It's almost crazy how people are just ready to give up on players, from the get-go. Oh, he's a bust. It's like, we haven't even got through the first season yet. Give the guys a chance.
But, and to be honest with you, Taco's probably going to develop into a really nice player. Right. It just takes defensive ends a little bit longer than it would, let's say, a guard or running back or something like. Not everybody's going to hit like those type of positions, and that's what I'm saying. We've been really good at drafting at linemen in the first round. Let's not miss with that pick.
Okay, you know what? I'm feeling generous tonight.
No.
We didn't get to our $100 that I wanted for the super chats and stuff tonight, but I want to thank everybody who did support. I am going to go ahead and let go of my Bill Bates. Bill Bates, check this out. Bill Bates, 3-time Super Bowl champion. Okay, Bill Bates, a guy that people gave up on, a guy who they thought, he's not a football player, and he ended up playing longer than any other Dallas Cowboy. The guy who they ended up making a spot in the Pro Bowl for special teams because he was that good. We're going to go ahead and do that drawing for that shirt tonight. Okay? Michael, you want to come over and pick this for me? Okay. Michael's not getting up. He's over there playing PlayStation, or Game Boy, or PlayStation, or whatever the hell it is. All right. Here we go. Tonight's winner is Brian SoCal. Okay? Brian, email me at cowboysmark94@gmail.com so I can get your address. I have not gotten the other one out last week. Sorry, guys. I've been running around like a crazy man. I'm leaving to go to Waynesboro first thing in the morning. But I will get those things out over the next couple of days. I appreciate everybody who's supporting me and the channel and everything else. Are your bags packed yet, man?
Man, my bags stay packed, man. You know that.
Okay.
Yeah, my bags are packed.
We don't have much time, man. It's literally 2.5 weeks. It's the draft. All this talk and everything else is about to be over with. This season is coming a lot faster than I think people realize. And before you know it, training camp's going to be open. So, John, tell everybody how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, man. You guys can slide right on over to DMV Dallas Cowboys, man. I'm going to do a video tomorrow breaking down all of the visits and stuff like that, just to give you guys a broad perspective of what the Cowboys are looking at.
All right, man. I appreciate the support, man. I appreciate you putting in all that hard work and stuff, and I can't wait for us to get on this draft, man. It's going to be awesome. Everybody that's out there, thank you so much for all of the support, all the times that you watch, all the comments, everything that you guys do. I cannot do this without you guys. Now, if you go to my home screen up there, all these guys that we work together with, their channel links and stuff are right there. So if you want to get in touch with Vosh, with Law Nation, with my man DMV Dallas Cowboys, E2 Blue, finally got it right, man. You know I've been hitting the head too many times, and sometimes I'll kind of mess it up and say DMV Blue and stuff like that. But, guys, I make lots of mistakes, okay? I always make lots of mistakes. So understand, I played football and I got hit in the head a lot. But hope everybody has a great day. Any news on the Dallas Cowboys, we're going to be sure to bring it to you. And make sure you John, E2 Blue, Law Nation, Vosh, Michael Anthony Fitness, all of these guys support. Everybody does the best job they can putting together great content for you and show them your support. I'm Mark Holmes. It's my man, John, And of course, it's Cowboy Jobu, and we'll see you again Friday night.